I really just want to hear other people's thoughts and feelings on this to make sure in my heart, mind, and soul that I am not crazy. This is his second marriage with me. First one, he was like 20-year-old, and according to, he told me his ex did not physically cheat on him, but she was in touch with a old flame via messages. He found out and kicked her out and requested divorce. She also wanted to leave him, and he asked her to stay, until days later he found her messages with the guy. We met around 2 years after his divorce, dated for 2 years, got married and moved around the country because he was an active duty military member. We had our daughter in July 2019. We moved to Japan in September. He was on the road for work almost immediately, and there was I, 2-month-old postpartum in a foreign country with a newborn all alone. It did not take long for me to drift into darkness and have the most terrifying experience of my life, my postpartum depression. I lost myself in it. I wanted to hurt my daughter because she wouldn't stop crying. I wanted to sleep, and she wouldn't let me, and I wanted to disappear. That is when I realized I was not okay, and immediately told my husband and saw a therapist. I did therapy for almost 3 years. It was so bad. All of this started around November time frame. I lost my joy, my desire to live, but I never ever abandoned my little girl. I do not know where I got the strength to raise her all on my own like that. I did the best out of the circumstances, and we are best friends now. She is about to be 6. My husband is a person who absolutely loved physical touch and affection, and with my depression, that was the last thing on my mind. All I wanted was to take good care of my little one, keep her safe, and sleep. All I wanted was to sleep, drift into darkness. My dad had depression when I was a teenager. My mother is no good, but she never abandoned him. He was being treated for over 7 to 8 years, and she was very empathetic and supportive of him. My husband knew this. He told me no one in his family had depression, and it was all new to him. Okay. We started to have regular conversations/fights, and a lot of complaints from him, because he missed his intimacy with his wife, because I was distant, because he felt left out. All he wanted was sex, it seemed. I can't even remember how many times I just closed my eyes and let him use me. I hated it. I was just so over ever the complaints. My physical and mental health did not seem to mean anything to him. As I mentioned earlier, he traveled constantly for work. It was required. A lot to Thailand. He has always been the kind of guy that liked going to get even pedicures together. So when he would tell me that he was getting pedicures so cheap in Thailand and blah blah, I didn't care. Then he told me he was getting very cheap massages too. I didn't think anything of it because apparently all the guys did. Around February 2020, some things I don't recall well because it has been a long time, they had a longer mission and stayed in Thailand for a while. I think like 2 to 3 weeks, I would say. Of course they would work, but would enjoy the hotel pool, the bars, etc. All while I was home alone. I tried my very best to be happy for him, as we both loved traveling, and I didn't want to sound like I was jealous he was having more fun than me. But that did suck, actually. I was left alone, in with a 6-month-old now, and struggling with all my responsibilities and depression. We have each other on iPhone Find Friends. He is not very smart with his phone, so that is how I caught him in Thailand. I went to bed kind of early with the baby, and he started to be out and about at bar to bar in Thailand with the guys doing God knows what. I didn't care, he had fun, never been the jealous girl type, but I can't tolerate someone trying to play me for fool. One night, I was up because the baby woke me up at 2 a.m. I fed her, changed her, and I couldn't go back to sleep. I went to see his location, and to my surprise, he was not at the hotel. I called him 3 times. First 2 times it rang, third one was disconnected. He turned the phone off. Since the phone was off, his location froze. A few minutes later, he had his phone on and was at the hotel. This motherfucker had the audacity to take his clothes off, lay under a blanket, and FaceTime me, saying he was sleeping and what up. I was furious. We had fights for days over this. I couldn't believe he thought I was that stupid. If he was only with the guys and having drinks, why couldn't he just answer me right there? What was he hiding? The fights went on and on. At some point we made peace, and that was it. He came back home in March, a few days before our wedding anniversary. We took a trip to celebrate with some friends. While on this trip, I told my friend I was very irritated down there, and that I never had this before. She said maybe it's yeast infection since it was hot in Japan. Go check a doctor. When we returned home, he told me he was itchy down there and would see a doctor. I don't remember the excuse he gave me, but he said it was something and doctor gave him the meds to treat it. You all can see I trusted him with my whole heart. Then, next day, things go worse for me and I decided to see a doctor. It was a nurse and a male one, to my biggest humiliation. They didn't even had to test me. He took the same and said, "Ma'am, is there infidelity in your marriage? Because what you have is chlamydia." I was so sad. My heart was broken. I couldn't believe he did that, and I had to found out the his way. But the thing is, God doesn't leave anything hidden. We got home, I put the baby down for a nap, and I confronted him. He told me after the massage, this lady, without asking him, started a blowjob. I wanted to punch him so hard. And he did nothing to stop it. His wife was not giving him what he needed, apparently, so he accepted it from a whore. If I was already depressed before, I can't even begin to tell you what that did to me. I went to the lowest point of my life. I went from 130 pounds to 220 pounds. I was gone. My therapy became twice a week, and after a lot of talk, we did couples counseling too. A few days after the fact, he was gone again for another trip, and I decided to get into his computer. I found so many chats between him and coworkers who also go on these trips, and one of them was asking him, "Hey, who was that nice chick by the pool with you?" Nice. And he just responded, "Just doing my thing if you know what I mean," something on those lines. All of this happened on that trip in February before he returned home in March. This meant he was lying about who he was at the bars with. Maybe the happy ending massage was not even the bigger issue, but the fact that he was seeing other girls too, even bringing them to his hotel. I messaged that guy asking to talk, and he saw my message and never messaged me, which just confirms he meant what he said. He even tried to get in touch with my husband to let him know I messaged him. I started to collect all the information and screenshots I could. I was sick to my stomach. We were doing counseling, and I was doing my therapy, and I wanted to leave him. But COVID happened. I was stuck in Japan, financially unstable, and with an infant. For background, all my family lives in Brazil, and I couldn't just leave since I had a child involved. I was fucked up. After so many years of therapy, I could say I was able to forgive him, but never forgot. But the truth be told, I don't think I was ever able to forgive. It broke me too much. We are back on stateside and still together. But every day of my life, I think about leaving. I am not at peace. I am just surviving. I am not happy. I can't believe he did all of this to me to satisfy his ego at my lowest point in life. The sickness and health vow didn't stick to him, apparently. After so many years working on myself, I finally feel like old me again. I worked so hard to control my health, emotional eating, have been working out, got a job in my field, and just finally feel good again. I was thinking a lot about leaving. I can't also stand his parents who have disrespected me multiple times, and I had to stick out for myself because he wouldn't defend me and disrespect his own parents. I found out in March I am pregnant again. I am not happy at all. My daughter is so excited to have a sibling, and all I can think of is I am trying to get out of this nightmare, and it seems I can't never wake up. With my daughter's pregnancy, I was so sick and very emotional. With this pregnancy, I am so cold and rational. It's so wild. Husband got a new job, and it's out of state for the training. This pregnancy is making me think a lot, and I told him yesterday, I want out. I want out in peace, out still with respect towards each other. Out with fairness and hopefully some degree of friendship to raise the kids in peace. Of course he ain't having it. He blamed on the devil, he blamed on my hormones, but it seems his actions were just to blame here. I pretty much laid out to him how I felt and still feel after all those years and how much he hurt me, but it said we needed to fight for this marriage. I have been fighting for 5 years. How much longer do I need to live like this? He is either completely blind and doesn't see that I have never been the same toward him again, or he does, and still wants to keep the family image. How can you not see you hurt someone that bad and that they are a totally different human being with you? I am very much strong on this decision. I am just scared because I am pregnant and alone again. I do have a job now, but it seems like I can't ever catch a breath. How do I explain to this man that it did take me 5 years to come back to surface, but I did, and I see everything he is and what he did as clear as it can be. Sorry, I just needed to vent. Thanks for listening and subscribe. Like and leave a comment on what you would do if you found yourself in a situation like this.